What's up, everybody? Shonnydman here, and welcome back to the channel. You guys are doing pretty good. Hope you guys had yourselves a great week. We are back with a brand new episode of the Nerd Talk Podcast, and this week we have a new guest. So, to get us kicked off and going, tell us who you are and tell us a little bit.
Hello guys, my name is Tirzah, but I go by Tiny.Tirzah. I am a streamer and also a beauty content creator. And I also cosplay sometimes.
I believe I came across. I think it was your Instagram accounts when I came across. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just shoot her a message and see how that goes. And it went pretty good. I mean, you're here, so it definitely went pretty good. So where do I want to? Let's start. Okay, so you do streaming, but you also do makeup. Let's start with the makeup. Tell us about the content you do in regards to that.
I essentially create like makeup tutorials, or I even do like makeup reviews, and I just like to have fun with makeup. But besides makeup, on top of that, I also incorporate fashion, which I probably should have said in the beginning. I do like all sorts of things. Like I love like basically doing clothing hauls and trying out different like styles. It's just something that I've always loved. Like I want to say I've loved it since I was a kid, honestly, since I was like in elementary, and I've been like I just started doing it.
Okay. So what kind? So I think I saw you make a post talk about you were like with your Instagram. You had like both your makeup and streaming stuff on one page.
Yeah, I essentially well, first it started off separately, and then I thought it was kind of like hard to do that because I was like back and forth. So then I tried to put everything together, but then I was like, you know what, this isn't working for me because I didn't want it to confuse my audience. Like I didn't want to have like my gaming stuff really confused. So I ended up going back to separating them, and I think that works so much more better for me because it gets like the audience to watch the things that they actually like watching. Like some like my gaming or my Lego builds and my cosplays, and some just like my makeup and fashion. So it was better to just separate them.
Okay. As far as your cosplaying goes, what got you started with that?
I've always wanted to cosplay. I have always wanted to. It's been like one of my biggest dreams. I want to say what started it all was I guess like I would just see other people like do it, and it looked really fun, and I just really wanted to get into it. But I feel like that's probably been a part of my life because I talked about this with my stream the other day, but I feel like I probably started cosplay when I was little because I remember I was so like in love with Lara Croft. Like I loved Tomb Raider. It was my favorite. So my family would make fun of me because I had like the little green shirt and her khaki, like the khaki shorts. So I decided to put that on, braid my hair, and I was pretending I was like shooting guns and pretending to be her. And then one time I like got on top of the counter and I jumped off because I was trying to be like her, and I hit my head and I was like, ow, and I just started laughing, and then I got back up and still kept pretending to be like shooting guns, and my brothers were laughing at me so bad. And then after that, I also saw this one girl at the mall who cosplayed as like Sailor Mars, and I just loved her outfit. Like she was like I guess it was like for Halloween. I saw her and I was like, she looks so amazing. I want to be just like that when I grow up. And then later on, like as I got older, I saw that people were doing it more frequently. So I found out that's when cosplaying was a thing. And I was like, I want to do that. So that's essentially kind of like how it happens. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, have you played the remastered Tomb Raider games?
Excuse me.
No, you're fine. You're good.
Sorry. Let me see. I have. Well, actually, the remastered, I haven't played it yet, but I want to. I know I did play it when I was a kid. It was for like the PlayStation 1.
All right.
I loved it. But that was like the older one, and now I heard that the remastered is back, and I really want to play it. So that's like something that I'm gonna play down the line.
Okay. Have you played the other ones that were made, like Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
I haven't played actually no, I have played Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I just didn't get to finish it. My brother traded in the game before I got to finish it, but I did finish the other game. So
Okay. Did you like those?
yeah, they were pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Then there was also like there's been like three Tomb Raider movies, I believe. The two with Angelina Jolie, and then the other one that was kind of like based off the remake game, but it was fine.
Yeah, that one was okay. I think I liked the Angelina Jolie's version though, hands
Yeah,
down.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So what other cosplays have you done?
The one cosplay that I done was a girl version of Mewtwo. That was like my first cosplay. And then I also did Catwoman, Misa Amine, Harley Quinn, and I think like Spider-Man so far. Like that's about it really. I want to do more in the future. It's like a financial thing, so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
hoping I can like do more because there's other ones that I definitely want to cosplay as.
Okay. Okay. Have you gone to any cons?
Yes, I went to an anime con, a Pokefest, and a comic.
Okay. Okay. Uh, yeah, because you do have like a lot of Pokemon plushies.
Yeah, I do have lots of plushies. I collect plushies too. So,
It's okay. My friend Phelan, she also has this shit obsession with plushies as well. So I was like, what are you doing?
yeah.
Uh, so who? Okay, so since you're a fan of Pokemon, who who's your favorite?
Oh, I love Entei and Mewtwo. They're absolutely my favorites, and it kind of like what I hate about it though is that I'm trying to find a plush of Mewtwo, but every time they make a plush of Mewtwo, it comes out horrible, and I'm just like, why do you do that to him?
And, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a plush of Mewtwo. Well, I'm not really like into plushies, so I probably wouldn't really pay that much of attention for those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love Pokemon though. Although I haven't kept up with it. Um, quite a while actually. Probably I think the last time I paid attention to Pokemon was probably around Diamond and Pearl. But then
Mhm.
after that, I was just like, ah,
I feel that because I'm stuck with the old Pokemon still. Like I'm barely going into like the new stuff, so I don't really know too much of the new stuff. Like I even collect the Pokemon cards at times, and there's like a lot of new Pokemons that I've never heard of.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's just like they'll come out with new Pokemons. I'm just like, it is or what it does. But yeah, I'm very much old school when it comes to Pokemon as well. You know, red and blue, well, red, yellow, and blue. Fire red, leaf green, gold, crystal, silver. Like those are my favorites.
Yeah,
Um, and so then with the streaming, how long you been doing that?
I've been streaming for a long while. I want to say I started probably around when I was like 20 years old. So it's been a while.
Oh, okay. Oh, because I know because I was checking out your Instagram page and I saw that you made a little. This was probably like 2 years ago. You
Mhm.
were looking at getting a new streaming setup. It was like one of your
Mhm.
reels on your Instagram. I was like, oh, that looks pretty nice. Did you ever get that?
I'm still working on my new streaming setup because when I first started, I actually started from a console and I was literally streaming just like from the PlayStation 4 near the bed with a broken chair and just like a TV, and that was it. That's all I had. And it took me years, but I finally got like my own desk and a monitor. I'm still working for two monitors and I barely got my key light. I still need another one. So it's like slowly building up. It's just like taking some time.
Did you have like help from family, significant others, anything like that to like help you get that going?
Yes, I want to say my brothers, both my brothers actually. Recently, my brother is building my other PC because I'm borrowing my boyfriend's, and my boyfriend's PC is really good. But my brother's like making me a different one.
Okay.
So he's actually only like, I'm actually only paying him like, I think $250. And he's like, that's all you need to pay me because, you know, you're my sister. So like I'm gonna help you out. So he's like building it for me, and I'm really excited. And I really thank my brother for that. Because if it wasn't for him, like I wouldn't be here like doing this. And then my boyfriend on top of that, like he helped me with my desk, and he's like really supportive like with my content too. He actually just bought me like a camera recently
Oh,
because I
okay.
needed one too, so he bought me one, and I was like, "What?" So I've just been so thankful, honestly.
So you've been streaming for quite a while. What game was your favorite to stream during this time?
Ooh, I love horror games a
Okay.
lot. So I want to say like the Outlast series has been like my favorite. I mean, I've always loved Outlast. So I think those were like the games that I love streaming, especially like the Resident Evil series. Those are really cool too. I mean, I play all kinds of games, but just horror is what fascinates me the most.
What are some horror games that are kind of on your list that you want to play?
At the moment, I want to try Five Nights at Freddy because
Okay.
I see a lot. I've never played it though, and it's just I don't know. Like I was always hesitant with it because I was like, it doesn't look that scary. But then I saw the live action and I loved it, and I was like, okay, it caught my attention. Like, my boyfriend was explaining the lore to me, and I was like, I want to know more. Like, I want to play the games now. So that's one of them. And I think there's one called Poppy's
Oh,
Playtime, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another one on my list, including there's like this other one from the Dark Pictures anthology. I think it's like The Devil something. Like I don't really
Oh,
remember.
I think The Devil in Me.
Yeah, that's the one that I want to play because I played all of their games. I just need to play that one. Yeah, and I'm still looking more into more horror games.
I've I like the Dark Picture anthology games. I've only played about two. I played Little Hope and with Men of Medan. I think the site
Yeah.
says it. I enjoyed them. Like Little Hope, I like, but like the more I thought about it, the more I was just kind of like it's probably. I think House of. I haven't got around to it, but from what I've seen of House of Ashes and The Devil in Me, those are probably a little bit better. They're on my list of games to play, and then I'm very excited because they're doing kind of like a remastered of Until Dawn that's coming out this year. I'm very
Mhm.
excited for that. Have you
Yeah, I'm hyped for that too.
have you played that?
I played Until Dawn. I didn't know about the remaster till now, so that's
Oh,
exciting. Also yeah, I played the House of Ashes. That one I loved. Madame Madon was like okay, like it wasn't the best. I was hoping for like real monsters, but
mm.
when I found out it was like this gas leak or something, I was like, I don't know, not so much. And then Little Hope was also okay, but Until Dawn was definitely my favorite. And House of Ashes, that one was amazing. I definitely recommend that one. And I'm looking forward to the other one.
I'm trying to think of what other. You played Phasmophobia?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Oh, have you played Phasmophobia?
Um, a little bit of it with like a friend, and that was it. But I would like to play it with like my viewers. But yeah, like it'd be cool to play. I'm also excited because I'm looking forward to the Little Nightmares 3 game. I didn't even know there was going to be a Little Nightmares 3 game because I love both of them. Then one of my viewers told me they're actually making another one, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I just can't wait.
Oh, I'm like, what are some? Let's see. There's Slender the Arrival about Slender Man.
Mhm.
Which I don't think you can get. You might be able to get that on PC, but I remember I played a little bit of it on my PS4. It was it was rough to get through, and I was just like, there's some other horror. Five Nights at Freddy's. Uh, I have been interested by it. I knew not, like kind of like you. I didn't know anything about it until I watched the
Mhm.
movie, and I liked the movie for what it was, and so I was like, okay, you know what? I could probably get into this.
Yeah, I actually thought Five Nights at Freddy was like for kids. That's what I thought. Because like a lot of kids loved it. And I was like, is it just like a kids game? And then when I saw the movie, I was like, well, that's took a turn. I'm like, I'm interested.
So, do you like horror movies also, or you just like horror gaming?
I love horror gaming and some scary movies too. I'm not really for like bloody type of movies because I gross out, but I love like scary movies in general.
What have you seen that you like?
So far, of course, there's The Conjuring, which is really good.
Oh, I love.
I've also seen, I think it's called A Haunting. That one was one of my favorites. I actually saw The Exorcism for the first time. My mom did not want me to watch that movie at all. Like, even as I grew older, she's like, I refuse to let you watch that movie, but I still ended up watching it anyways. So those are pretty cool. I've also like there's like another one I'm trying to think of. I think The Crazies, but I think that was more of like a horror type of thing. But that one was really good. I still liked it. I think the one movies though that I cannot watch still to this day is Hills. Was it like Hills Have Eyes or something
Oh,
like that?
yeah, The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, I can't watch those. I
Really?
tried and
Oh,
they freak me out.
um, yeah, I think some horror movies you would like. So if you're not into all the really like the blood and gory stuff, um, I think The Strangers is a good one. Uh, the the Witch is really good. It was an indie. It was kind of a independent film, but then got released
Oh,
in the U.S. It's 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 kind of a slow burn of a horror movie. Well, let me take it back. It's not really a horror movie. I guess it's more of a supernatural thriller. But it's really good. I enjoyed it. Another one is what is that called? Sinister.
oh, I love those. Those are good too. I haven't seen the first two you said, but that one's good.
I really enjoyed that. The second one not so much, but the first one I enjoyed it. And then Darkness Falls, pretty good horror movie.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm a big fan. I love horror. I will watch them any chance I get.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think like during October, like I love okay, on October for my streams, I love doing like all month long horror games and I do love watching scary movies throughout that whole
Yeah.
entire month. And my mom was like, "Oh, like we should watch a movie together. Like what movie do you recommend?" And I was like, "You don't want to ask me that question. Like I'm telling you right now because I'm just going to give you nothing but scary movies." So we were watching like scary movies back to back and I feel like it kind of messed up my mom with the movie Veronica on Netflix because that one was based on a true story. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, like essentially it's based on a true story, and I guess she kind of like gets like possessed in a way because they were messing with like the Ouija board at school. And so she ends up like, getting something, but it's based on a true story. And my mom could not forget it after that. Like, she felt bad for the girl. I'm like, so did I. Like, I felt bad for the real life girl because that's some scary stuff. But it was like a really interesting movie.
Um, yeah, like now sometimes when they do movies like that, they'll say it's like based off a true story, but it's sometimes it's just like a small portion of it. But I love those kind of movies though, like ones that are kind of based off of true stories or based off like urban legends and things like that. Um, like the Conjuring films, those are technically based off real life events, and
Yeah.
I love those movies. Some of the spin-offs of those movies are okay, but like the core Conjuring films, I really enjoy.
Yeah, I get you. I've always just been into like scary movies and horror games. Like I want to say I started that off like even when I was a kid. Like I just loved all things scary. I don't know why. Like I think the first scary game that I was into was The Suffering. I saw my brother play that one and I loved it. Like after that, I just fell in love with scary games. So I grew up playing a lot of horror games now.
Like I have plenty of friends, and a lot of them just don't like anything scary, and I'm just like, y'all are lame.
I'm the same way. Like I've had people like that come into my streams and they're like, "Oh, I don't like scary games," and or I have like friends that are like, "Oh, I'm not that much into like scary movies or games," and I'm like, "What?"
So when you're not streaming or anything like that, what are you typically doing throughout your day?
Mostly like cleaning, reading books, or just watching like TV, stuff like that. Mm.
What what's some good TV shows that you've watched recently, or just watched in the past?
Um, so far, Stranger Things. I'm like obsessed with Stranger Things. I think I've watched it like multiple times, and especially like if I'm like ill, it's the movie. I mean, it's the one show that I can watch like all the time. I think even when I was sick with the virus, I think I want to say I watched it like 4 times the
Oh my
entire
god!
season. It's like a comfort show. I don't know why. I guess because it takes place in the 80s, and I've always loved that like that time. I guess I've always just been in love with like the 80s, so I think that's why I just feel some kind of like form of comfort. I have no idea why, but other than that, I also like Anne with an E. I'm just upset that Netflix had canceled it. So I love that show so much. It's also another comfort show of mine. Since I loved it so much, I just had to buy the books. Like I
Ah,
had to get them and read it for myself because I know it's like more detailed. Um, Sorry for the thought.
no, you're fine.
Let me see. Another show I like to call trashy shows is
Okay.
Love Is Blind. Like I'll tell my boyfriend I'm gonna go watch my trashy show, and I'll be watching like Love Is Blind. I don't know why. Like I know it's kind of like like it's all right, but for some reason it entertains me.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'll like watch that, or basically anything K drama related is what I watch. Like I love Korean drama so much.
Where do you watch Korean drama?
Sometimes on Netflix. I used to watch it a lot on VK Drama, but I actually ended my subscription. But I want to like renew it again because I want to finish like True Beauty. That one's definitely one of my favorites because I was reading the webtoon, and it was good. Like I loved it.
Um. What are some shows that you've watched that other people loved but you find overrated?
I might get hate for this one, but The Office. I don't like The Office. I've
Hmm.
tried watching it and I don't find it funny. I'm just like, how is this like humor? I don't know.
Okay, that's definitely something right there. It's that's a hot one right there.
Yeah, because like my boyfriend loves that show, and like he tries to get me into it, but I just can't watch it. Like I've tried.
That's
Mm.
ooh, something.
Oh, the one show I forgot to mention that I do love though is of course Game of Thrones. I love watching Game of Thrones.
When that show had been out for a couple of years at the point when I got around to it. I think by the time I came across and watched it, it was I think it was getting ready to. It was like in their break. They just ended season 7. They were getting ready to start season 8, and so I kind of like backtracked and like watched all the seasons and everything. And then I watched season 8. And I was just kind of like, eh, eh.
Yeah, I agree. I think the final season wasn't the best. Like I wasn't happy with it. Honestly, it wasn't really the best. Like everything was good, and then when they created the final one, I was like, nah. I feel like they went through it too fast.
Yep, yep. Um, and it seemed like from like the people who kind of like took over the show. I think because George R. R. Martin, like I think he was a part of it, until season 4, and then they had some guys come in to finish the next. They did the next 3 seasons, and yeah, it's just it went downhill after a good bit. But yeah, season 8 is definitely one that people just that ain't it, but.
Yeah, I felt the same way too with the House of Dragons. Like, I was interested, but then what bothered me was the whole, like, the time lapse and all that. Like, it just went so fast, or like the time loops. They were just going too fast, and it made me really confused. Like, she was little, then she was like all of a sudden like an adult, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah, that was definitely something too that they just like they kind of rushed to get to a certain point of the lore that it was just kind of like every 2 or 3 episodes there was like a time jump, and she goes from being young to being an adult. And it's just kind of like you don't really like see other certain characters change that much. And you know, I always like I got into a point with like shows like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon to where like when it comes to like the intimacy scenes and stuff like that, it's just kind of like I don't really care too much for this because sometimes it just feels weird, especially how
Yeah.
you have uh like the two in House of Dragon, you have an uncle and a niece, and I'm just kind of I don't know if I want to watch that, so I'm just get past this a little bit. So.
Yeah, I agree 100%, but I honestly feel that way towards like any shows. That's also like any shows and movies in general. Like I think that's also why I love K-dramas a lot more than like American TV shows, because they're always like focusing on the intimacy and stuff like that, and I feel like it's not needed. It's especially uncomfortable when you're trying to watch a movie or a show with your parents
Oh,
and
yeah.
that comes on, and I'm just like, this is awkward, you know. And like I just don't, I feel like it's not needed. Like I think what they like one thing that they can do, or like movie directors, is like just insinuate that they're going to be intimate and then pan out, and that's it. Like we don't need the whole thing. And that's why I love K-dramas more, because it's more about like an emotional intimacy. Like they'll ask, "Can I hold your hand?" And I'm just like, "That's so cute." And then like American shows are all about like physical intimacy, and I'm just like,
I guess a good way to like put it too is which I was talking with the last guest I had on. We were talking about Wednesday and how one of the shortcomings of that show was the annoyance of them trying to do a love triangle story arc, and it wasn't needed. And even Jenna Ortega herself says it was kind of dumb. And so I'm glad, I'm happy to hear that, like, with them doing season 2 of Wednesday, they are kind of like going away from that, and it's going to be much more of a kind of gothic horror style show, which is better. And I think, and I've seen people talk about like, that kind of the show will lack because it doesn't have that platonic love interest in it, and I'm just like, you don't always need a love story or love interest in a show. If as long as the story is good and the acting is good, I'm fine with that.
yeah, I 100% agreed. And I did see that episode. And I loved like what she said. I did agree with her with the whole Wednesday thing, because it definitely was not needed.
Uh, Trying to think of some other shows. Oh yeah, it's just kind of like it doesn't. I like. I like it is annoying just watching movies or shows, and then they, people like try to ship people when I'm just kind of like not really needed for you to do that. Just because people are good friends doesn't mean there's more there. They could just be just good friends. Um,
Mhm.
and so it's just kind of like stop being weird, people. Just sit back and enjoy the show.
Yes, I agree. Like, I just really agree with that so much. Like, I want to say it was like that too with like Disney Channel, like Nickelodeon, like all these old shows that I would watch as a kid. They would always like focus on like, these crushes with all these boys, and oh my gosh, like these boys, or I have a crush on so and so. And I'm just like, why does it matter? You know, like I want a good show that doesn't really deal with like intimate relationships. You
Yeah,
know, because yeah, and that's all it was like mainly focused on. Even my own dad hated that too with these shows that I would watch, and he just did not like it. And like as an adult, I actually finally saw like or like realized what he was saying, and now I get it. I'm just like I don't really think we need all of these like intimate relationships in these shows
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. Yeah, I, it's just it's wild.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
also
yeah, sorry, unless it's like important for like a in the story, then
right,
okay, you know.
right,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. But I don't want to like watch a show where I'm trying to think of a good example of a show that. Yeah, what is a good example? I mean, I guess just more or less the whole Wednesday thing. To go back to that, like you give a character who emotionally isn't attached to people, try to make her emotionally attached, and that's just out of character for her. It's just then the choices of guys that you try to put her with are just not good choices, and so it's just like it doesn't make sense for Wednesday to go with guys. Now, obviously, there are occasions where that old saying opposites do attract, but in the case of
Hmm.
Wednesday, it just makes more sense to pair her with a character that works well with her. Like the friendship with Wednesday and Enid in the show works. I
Hmm.
mean, yes, they're opposite people, but that because of how they're portrayed and how those opposites work, it actually blends together. The love interest doesn't work. It's just both guys suck, and so
Yes, I agree. Like, I really did love the friendship that she had, like within it too. It was really good.
I don't know. We'll definitely see what what happens with season 2 of it. Uh,
Mhm.
so what are some shows or movies that are on your bucket list that you want to get around to checking out?
I do want to see One Piece, and I want to try to get back
Oh,
into Naruto. I rarely watch anime. Like, I'm very, very picky with anime.
same.
Yeah. So that's why it's very rare for me to actually love an anime because I think one of my favorite animes so far is like Nana and of course Sailor Moon. Like those two have been my absolute favorite. So I just want to try to get into like One Piece. That's on my bucket list. I did watch like a few episodes, but I know it's a lot. Same with
Yeah.
Naruto, it's a lot. But I do want to try to get like into those so far.
How do you feel about specifically like One Piece and Naruto and things and those kind of shows, the anime shows being turned into live action shows?
Um, I'm kind of like iffy on it. Like it really just depends because like sometimes they could make it really good and sometimes it's not as good. Like
Yeah.
the Death Note movie. Like I
Oh
think it
yeah.
just depends on like who's making it because I've noticed when US tries to do it, it's not that great. Like the Death Note American version was not great, but I do like the Japanese version. Like I have the Japanese live action movie and it's okay, you know, but it's not like amazing, but it's still pretty good. But the American one is just like eh. And I do want to say for the One Piece live action movie, I actually loved it. They
Yeah.
did really good with that one. So I was like really surprised with that. So like I said, it can be like kind of iffy.
Yeah. So I I watched One Piece when it first came out, but like after a certain point, I kind of like just fell off with it. And I know they're like well over 1,000 episodes in, so it's probably not a show I'm gonna get back into just because of how many episodes it is. Um, but yeah, the live action One Piece, I enjoyed. I thought that they made some changes here and there. They kind of condensed some parts of the story and things like that. But I mean, overall, it was a pretty solid first season that they did. And then they did a live action Yu Yu Hakusho, uh, which was only 4 episodes, but I'm not really mad about it because the quality and the visuals and everything in that show was actually relatively good. That okay. I could see where a situation where they decided to cut down on the number of episodes and put that money towards the visuals. And I think it really paid off. Like if you ever get a chance to watch it, I would say watch it, and you'll kind of like see what I'm saying when it comes to some of the decision makings that they did. And then I think they recently came out and said they're doing a live action Naruto.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
So
That's
yeah,
gonna be interesting.
yeah, like the live actions are just like hit or miss. Like with the American Death Note movie, I watched that movie and not knowing anything about Death Note, I watched it because William Dafoe was in it, and I love him. So uh, yeah, so they're doing that. Other ones that have they done? They did the One Piece. They did the Yu Yu Hakusho.
I think they did also The Last Airbender. I haven't seen it yet though.
Oh that's. I've watched some episodes. I've got. I think it's a mixed bag amongst people. Um,
Mhm.
they did Cowboy Bebop. I haven't watched that, but I do remember the show as a kid growing up because like I grew up with like late night Toonami on
Oh, me
Saturdays,
too.
and so it was always like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Inuyasha.
Mhm. I remember Bleach too.
Oh
They
yeah,
had that one. I always loved watching. It was Bleach, Inuyasha. I loved watching both of those.
I always enjoyed because like as soon as they kind of like kept moving the time up at times, but like I think it was like after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, that's when some of those shows would come on, and so yeah, like I would just have a ball. There was a show called I think it was like Fooly Cooley.
Oh, I think I heard of that one, but I don't think I got to see it.
It was an interesting show, but I
Mhm.
very much enjoyed watching that as well. Um,
I think there's also Code Geass, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. I think, yeah.
was I think let's see, there was Blue Lagoon one. Zoe didn't come on Toonami. That was kind of more of a Saturday morning cartoon kind of
Mhm.
show. I remember this one show called Case Closed, where it was a show about an adult or a teenager detective. He gets turned into a little kid, and so and so he's solving cases and making like so basically whenever there was a case because the girl he was dating, her dad is also a detective, but he's not a very good detective. So whenever there was a case that happened, like the kid will solve the case, and he will do some kind of shenanigans to like knock out the dad and make it seem like he's the one that solved the case, and it's just kind of like wow.
It sounds interesting. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's just well, I mean, yeah, it's just I don't think it lasted all that long. I think it maybe had one season, but
Mhm.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good show. Sailor Moon, I knew nothing about it except for my cousin had two of her movies.
Mhm.
What were they? There's like one where they were they ended up fighting like on an asteroid that had like flowers.
I'm trying to remember that one too. So I haven't seen Sailor Moon in so long.
So, and then there was like another one where like the city was frozen by like an ice demon or something. It wasn't just the Sailor Scouts, but it was also those three extra Sailor Scouts. Uh, you're right.
Maybe like Sailor Pluto and all of
Yeah,
them. I'm not
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah. They were
Mhm.
involved into it, but like, I know you can kind of watch it now, sort of. I think it's like on Hulu. Hulu has like a an updated animated version of it.
Yeah.
Uh, get back into it because I kind of did like Sailor Moon as a kid.
Me too.
So,
Yeah, I was watching the Sailor Moon Crystal ones, because the updated ones.
oh, that's
Um,
them.
Yeah, but I haven't like gone back and finished it, which I really need to. But I do like Sailor Moon. I mean, I love Sailor Moon. I thought it was really amazing when I was a kid. But I was watching the old ones because I think they have them on Netflix too, the older ones.
Okay.
I was watching those and then I kind of stopped and I just need to get back onto it. So I think that's on my list of like shows to finish. But yeah, those are really good.
Um, their anime shows have I watched? I don't know because like growing up as a kid, I always thought I had like especially in high school, I had like a lot of friends that were like into anime and stuff like that, and I always thought they were just like weird nerds and stuff like that. But then like at a certain point, which is kind of weird too, because like a lot of people years ago were like people who liked anime, who liked manga and all that kind of stuff, and they would be made fun of. But then at a certain point, other people started to join in. Like, oh my gosh, this is really good. And then you have the people who already were there, kind of like, yeah,
Yes, I agree. The same thing happened with Korean dramas and K-pop. I loved K-pop and I loved K-drama. And I started, I think I want to say in the sixth grade. My first music was Big Bang. I loved them. And I was like kind of known as weird. Even my brothers thought it was weird. And now it's like popular and like everybody loves it and you're not weird anymore and people are just not ashamed of it anymore. So I'm like, that's pretty interesting and cool. So yeah.
we used to like. I don't think they do it now, but like when I was in high school, we would our local library. I think every Monday night they had like a teen night, and so basically go to the library. There's like it had like three levels. Well, technically it's a basement, but it had like three levels, and the like top level was like for teenagers to come and hang out. It was like full. It was like a full anime room. People would come and hang out, play Yu-Gi-Oh, just read manga, and it was just like it was pretty chill. It was
That's
pretty,
awesome.
yeah. It was, and then I went to Dragon Con last year as like the first time I went to Comic Con, and I was just like, oh man, this is pretty wild. And because like it was all the cosplayers that I've had on, it's just like they put in obviously they put in a lot of work with their cosplays, but I was just like, this is a lot of stuff to take in for sure.
Yeah, I felt the same way when I first went to like my con, and it's like an amazing feeling at the same time because it's like you're not the only one that like loves this stuff. You know, because like back then it was known as oh you're weird and stuff, and now it's like everybody loves it, and I think it's like really amazing because you see all these people that are just getting along and doing what they love, and I think that's really interesting, and it's just like a really good feeling.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I kind of decided if I'm going to go to one. I do want to kind of. Well, I am going to one in April, but I'm only going to. That's kind of like close by. That let's see, who's there? There, they have like some pretty interesting guests. I think they have uh, George Takai, who was Sulu in the original Star Trek series. Uh,
Mhm.
they have a panel with some of the voice actors for Star Wars: The Clone Wars going to be there. There's a few others that I'm very excited to like go and see. But other than that, I'm kind of like planning for an international vacation as well, and so I kind of have to like, all right, definitely got to save money for that. So I don't know if I'll do anything like go to a con or anything like that this year. So it's lots of stuff to try to figure and plan out.
I get you. Yeah, I plan on going to Comic Con in April, so I'm excited.
Ooh, which one's that one?
Um, it's like in my local area, and they're gonna have like other different like people that are coming. Like the one person that is coming, and I'm actually looking forward to, is the guy that plays Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. So
Oh,
he's coming.
really?
Yeah, and I forgot who else. Like, there's other people, but I don't really remember because I need to like see the full list. But I know when I saw Pedro or the guy that plays Pedro, I was like, cool, like he's coming. So yeah, that would be
Oh,
interesting.
I love Napoleon Dynamite.
Me too.
That is that's one of my favorite movies. I could watch that and never get tired of it.
It's really good and funny.
Um, what else? Oh, a show. I don't know if you've seen it, but a show that I think you would probably like is a show called Community.
Oh, I did see that one. I saw it a long time ago and I finished all the seasons. That one's really good too. I like it.
I'm very excited because they just recently announced. Well, they announced it months ago, but they recently announced that the filming for the Community movie is supposed to start this month. They're kind of like having to work around Donald Glover's schedule, but we have been wanting this for a long time because I think it was like season 4 or 5. There was like a running joke where it was like 6 seasons and a movie. Well, we got 6 seasons of Community. We've just been waiting on the movie, so it looks like we're finally getting it. So I'm very excited for it. I love Community.
That's cool. I had no idea they were making a movie because I haven't seen Community in years. Like, I do know I finished all of the seasons, but this was probably like back in 2016, somewhere around
Oh
there,
wow!
2016. That's how long it's been since I've seen it.
Like I originally watched it when I was like doing an internship in Miami, but the people I was staying with only had like I think the first 2 seasons, and so when I came back, I had to like rent basically either I think I bought them off Amazon Prime, but they only had like seasons 3, I think 3 and 4. Then it got put on Hulu, and I was able to watch seasons 5 and 6. So, but yeah, I love the show. Very much love the show. Other good shows.
I'm trying to think of one too.
A Haunting of Hill House. I think that's a pretty good show.
Yeah, I liked that one. I saw it.
The Haunting of Bly Manor was fine, but I think personally the reason I probably didn't like it as much was because it had horror elements, but it felt like they focused more on the love aspect of the story. And I was kind of like, that's not really what I want from a horror show or movie, but okay.
Yeah, I understand. That one was okay. Yeah, for sure.
Fear Street. That's a good show.
Mm, I love that one. I love Fear Street. That one was really good. The one show that I also used to like was You, but then I stopped liking it.
Oh, why?
I think I lost interest on this. I think it was like the third. I don't know. I forgot how many seasons are there. I don't remember.
Oh, I think
So
it's like
like,
4 at this point, maybe more. I haven't really watched that show at all. I know a lot of people really like it, but I haven't gotten into it.
yeah, actually, I think it was like season 3 is when I stopped being interested because there's like this one part where it kind of got like political, and it was like when the whole virus was happening and the whole shot situation, and then like she was getting upset, and I was like, you lost my interest. Like, I did not like that. I was like, nah, it's just not my thing. So I just stopped watching it after that.
That's fair because usually like when shows kind of do that kind of thing, I'm just kind of like I don't. But like if it's in the show and it makes sense for the show, that's one thing. But if you insert it into the show just to promote a political based thing, then I'm just kind of like I'm not interested in it. So.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. And I was like, you had my attention until you started doing that. And it, like, you can clearly see it was intentional.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't like the message, I guess, that it was creating. And, like, I guess people were being, like, really horrible after they saw that. And, like, I just can't really explain it, but it just didn't sit well for me. I was like, no, not for me.
No, I get that. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely the same way, and so it's just kind of like I think well, there's been plenty of shows that have done it. I just can't think off the top of my head.
Mm.
There was another show that I don't think it's. I don't think it's on Netflix now. It might have been. It was called Criminal Mind.
Ooh,
Uh,
I love
yeah,
that show. It's so good because I love anything that deals with that,
yeah,
and it's just really good.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm angry that they did not renew it for a third season because
Mm-hmm.
it was such a good show. Like I always tell people, if you're a fan of like Criminal Minds, the show, you will like this as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really love that show. That one, and I think Dexter was one of my favorites. There was also what was the other one? Oh my gosh, I just know it deals with like two brothers and they're trying. Oh, Prison Break, I think.
Yeah, prison. I like Prison Break, but then it just got to a point to where it was just kind of like it didn't make sense after a while because
I feel that.
yeah, because like I get the first season of the kind of the show and some elements of the show where like, all right, we're in prison, got to break out, yeah. But then after a certain point, it was just kind of like we're out of prison. Why are you still calling it Prison Break? So it's just it got to a point
Yeah.
where it's like I don't okay, go to this now.
I liked the couple of seasons, but then it started to drag out. I think that's why I kind of stopped. But I do want to get back into it because I did love it. I just didn't like that they kind of like dragged it out
Mm.
more and more and more. And I was like, really? Because like they would escape, and then one of them will get back in. They would escape again, and then they're still being chased. And I'm just like, really?
I kind of so Supernatural was like that for me as well because when I first the first couple of at least the first couple of episodes of Supernatural I was like really into because I really like the idea because you don't really get those kind of shows where like you're going and fighting against like the Wendigo, Bigfoot, like you're fighting all these like cryptic based monsters and like fighting demons and stuff like that. But then it got to a point to where like it started dealing with actual like the devil and God, heaven and hell, and all that kind of stuff. And I was just kind of like, not really what I wanted. So I kind of like tuned out. Like if that's for if it's like if that's you as a viewer, you that's your kind of thing. That's great. But after a while, it's just kind of like I enjoy you hunting these monsters. You know.
I enjoyed that too with Supernatural. Like in the beginning, I did like it, but then I kind of like stopped watching it. I do really want to get back into it, but yeah, like that part just didn't make sense to me either because I love what they were doing.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe they decided to change it because they didn't want it to be repetitive. Maybe I don't know. That's the only thing that I could assume.
Yeah. I actually think it was supposed to stop after like it's like how many seasons of this show?
I don't remember. I lost count.
I think they were supposed to end at a certain like maybe like say season 6, but they kind of saw the amount of people watching. They ultimately renewed it for a couple more seasons, and it's just kind of like that's probably where it went downhill. You could have just ended on a high note. That's kind of why like I'm very interested in watching Shogun that just came out on Hulu.
Yeah.
Because they came out and said it's not getting a season 2, and so we want to just do this one season to tell the story, and we done that. And so I love when people do that with shows. You know what you want to do, and you're not going to overflate it with unnecessary seasons.
That's true. Yeah, I can agree. I think that's also why I like how with Stranger Things they're gonna end it like with this last season. I think that's cool instead of like keep dragging it out constantly because I
Yeah.
think after a while it get kind of tiring.
With Stranger Things, so with okay, I season 4 definitely had moments where it irked me because
Mm-hmm.
if you were going to do it how you did it, you should have made it the final season, honestly. And
I,
because you just like you have a part 1 of season 4 and a part 2, and like each of these episodes were like mini movies. They were well over an hour, and I was just kind of like, you should have just done this for the last season. Um, and then not only that, you you have what is it? You have Max. The whole thing was Max. Like
Yeah.
she basically died. And I was like, okay, I'm on board with this. I got this. But then they revive her, and I'm just kind of like, what are you doing? What is this? Now,
Mhm.
if it pans out right in the final season, I will forgive them. But they did this whole thing with season four was like, oh, one of these, not all of these characters are going to survive, and it's like it went through this whole thing leading up to to season four, where like, is Steve gonna die? Is Nancy gonna die? Is Will? And it was just kind of like, everybody was like all hyped up, and then nobody really dies. Like Max
Mhm.
technically dies, but then comes back, and it's like, come on, man, what is this?
Yeah, I think it was like really sad though when Eddie died because I
Oh
really
yeah,
didn't want him. I liked him a lot, but that's also what confused me too because I was like, when did 11 get like revival powers? Like, it did not make any sense to me, and I don't know if they're going to even explain that. Also, another thing that they have yet to even like explain or talk about more is the other kid. Well, 11's
oh
sister,
yeah,
like it didn't explain that. Like, what about her? Like, is she gonna come back, or was that like a one-time thing? What's happening? Like, I don't know if they're gonna even like talk about that in the final season. I'm not sure, but I
yeah.
also feel like
No,
the two parts, like when they did it separately, was unnecessary. They should have just put it all like there when it came out. They're like, oh, stay tuned for like the next part of the season, like part 2 of the season. And I'm just like, why don't you just like put them all there? Like, why do we have to wait more?
yeah. It's just, I was like, come on, man, what are you doing? And like, another thing that I've seen people talk, I've seen people try to put, not, I guess not push is the right word. They have been trying to like manifest, or at least they're talking about, is the idea that Mike and 11 are going to break up, and then Mike and Will are going to become a couple. And I'm just like, that doesn't make sense, because like, I understand, and it was obvious to season one that Will was gay.
Yeah,
It was clear.
yeah,
I get that, but it doesn't make sense for you to then turn around and try to make Mike gay when you gave no indication of that throughout the season, or throughout the series. Like, you always had him and 11 paired together, and I've seen
yeah,
people talk about like, they're trying to, they try to ship them and stuff like that. It was just like, it doesn't make sense because you didn't
yeah.
already establish any kind of connection like that throughout the series, and it's just, yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing that also like upsets me with like certain shows, like when they do that. Cause like I agree, like it didn't like it would make sense if their relationship like showed
Yeah.
up or slowly built up or something, but it just does not make sense like that. Cause he right away liked 11. Like as soon as like they met, he liked her. Like he was just infatuated with her. And it'd be really weird if they did that, and I don't want them to be like people pleasers where they're
Oh yeah, I
just
hate that.
trying. Yeah, I hate when they do that, when they're just trying to please like the people and make them happy. And then it makes the show just not as good anymore because it beats the purpose, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Millie Bobby Brown actually came out the other day because she was promoting her new movie on Netflix, Damsel. I need
Also,
to.
I love
Oh, you. I need to watch it. I need to get more. She really needs to branch out more. I think with her, because like, you look at Finn Wolfhard, he has been in multiple projects throughout
it.
his Stranger Things career and things like that. But Millie Bobby Brown, she's only really done the two Enola Holmes movies, which I enjoyed. I thought those were pretty fun movies. The Godzilla franchise, and then
Mm-hmm.
now this. But I think she said they have about 9 months of filming left to go for season five. So yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
so probably, I guess, 2025 is when we will get season five. So
Yeah.
I guess that
Yeah,
makes sense.
Damsel was a good movie. People are like, well, I saw a review yesterday of IGN like giving it a horrible review. They're like,
Uh,
oh, it's like it's essentially like a horrible movie and saying that the CGI was bad. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. The CGI was not bad. And then some people were complaining because the dragon talks. And I'm like, have you guys not seen Fantasy or The Hobbit? Like, the dragon talks in The Hobbit. And, like, I think you guys need to read more fantasy because I love fantasy. Fantasy, swords, fairies, dragons. That's my thing. Like, I love it. And when I saw it, I was like, I like this movie. And when the dragon came out, I was so astonished. I was like, oh my god. Like, I love this dragon. Like, they made it look super amazing. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. What was another movie? IGN or no, not IGN, but Rotten Tomatoes does this. There was a movie that came out. I want to say maybe the Super Mario Brothers movie where like they gave it a low score, but the
Oh,
fan
yeah.
score was like extremely high, and it was just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, it's a good movie.
It really was. I loved it. And I was like, I didn't understand. I think they were complaining because it didn't have, I guess, like, the stuff that's going on today, like where
Yeah.
they focus on the whole LGBTQ stuff, and that's why they were upset with that. And I'm like, well, you don't really need it. It's like, it's an amazing, like, Mario's Mario. It's like this whole game that we all loved growing up, and none of that was like focused on that kind of stuff. It was just, fun. That's all it was. There was no dynamic like relationships or anything like that. It was just really fun, know.
Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. Like, I think that's why like a movie like Godzilla Minus One has been so well received because it's just a kickback monster movie. Like, just eat your popcorn and enjoy the movie, and that's all it is. And so that's good because I think they were like, I think they got put up for like an award, not an Oscar, maybe it was an Emmy.
Yeah.
But there was like a clip that went around that showed that they got put into a category for like the Emmys or the Oscars or whatever, and they were excited. So good for them. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it really was.
So, but all right, guys, that is where we will end this week's episode of Nerd Talk. So much fun conversating with our guest here. Definitely we'll have her back on for future episodes, maybe even some future video games. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out for sure. But for those who are watching on YouTube, obviously, as per usual, up on screen now are all the ways you can follow and support. But for those who are listening on podcast, how can they follow and support?
You can definitely follow me through like Twitch, named Tiny.Tirzah. You can follow me on my social media through Facebook, Instagram with the same username, my YouTube channel. It's essentially the same.
So be sure to go and give a follow, show some love and support. But other than that, guys, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment below, and check out the channel while you're here. But other than that, we will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.